Second. Okay, we're live. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Julie Ann Hirsch, and I would like to call the meeting of the Select Board Interview Subcommittee to order at 5:02 p.m. on May 22nd. This meeting is being conducted remotely, and it is being streamed live and recorded. Before we begin, I will confirm the presence of the committee members participating remotely. Please state your name and confirm that you can hear and be heard. Laura, state
Hi,
your name
sorry,
and
Laura Zeiton. I can
you
hear
can
you.
hear us and we can hear
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Rita Osborne,
Rita Osborne, Northborough Housing Authority Commissioner.
thank you. And Fran,
Backstrand, and yes, I can hear you.
okay, and we can hear you. All right, so this Fran is applying for the position on the Housing Authority, which is different than our other committees. It's a 5-year term, apparently.
Yes, it is.
And that term will end in 2030. So generally, Rita, we at least when I've been participating, the commission chair will describe the your mission statement and what's to be expected of the members. So would you be comfortable going first and telling us all about the Housing Authority and what Fran could expect?
The Housing Authority is a public housing agency which provides services for low-income people. In Northborough, we have a total of 132 units, 105 are elderly, 26 are families, and we have a one special needs program that we are working with the Department of Mental Health. As commissioners, it's our job to oversee and govern the Housing Authority. We do not get involved in the day-to-day activities. That's handled by our executive director. So the role of the Housing Authority is to make sure that everything is functioning as it should. We follow the regulations and that we make sure our budgets are on time and we stay within our budgets. The programs that we have are all handled by the Commonwealth of Mass. We're a state public housing authority. We do not have federal funds. We do not have a federal program. So we're strictly state, governed, ruled, and funded by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And basically, that's who we are.
So Rita, I remember when I was the liaison, a lot of your work is also kind of defined by the state. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So is there some kind of rule book or something that you go by, or the executive director?
There are. The rules and regulations are published by the Commonwealth of Mass. We have regulations that we have to follow, and actually we come under, to go the actual formation of housing authorities, we're under 120, chapter 121B. So, but the regulations come down from the state through our agency, it's now EOHLC, and then they send it down to us and we, incorporate them and follow them through, such as a lease, such as any modernization programs that we're doing, new construction, everything that we do as we do it gets sent to the state to get approved, and then hopefully we'll be able to do some of the things we'd like to do.
And how much input does the authority have in the budget?
The authority, we have a lot of input on the budget. We send the budgets to them to be approved.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
we set up our budgets because they're very specific, and we set it up and then we send it to the state to get approved.
So the authority with the executive director does, okay. So Fran, can we, generally we start with the applicant, and the first obvious question is, could you just explain your interest in this commission?
Sure, thank you so much. So I had been asked by somebody who I'm friendly with months ago, sometime last year, to come to one of the meetings because there was going to be conversation about the potential of the new building that we just funded through CPA. So I went to the meeting because I'm always curious about the things that I don't know. And I also knew that Springwell Elder Services was going to start providing services there. And my background is in everything and anything related to elder services and or social services. When I was the paralegal at Legal Services, I helped people, advocated for people completing housing applications, SNAP applications, Mass Health, and all of that. So I'm very familiar with the population of low and modest income, both families and older adults and people who live with disability. So I found it interesting. I'm always curious about things that I don't know enough about. I happened to sit in on one of the meetings with former select board member Lisa Maselli, and both was like, we don't know anything about this. So, which is, again, curiosity is going to kill me someday. So I just felt like I had conversation with Andy Dowd. I knew his term was ending. I knew he was retiring from the town government as well. And I asked him that if he was not looking to re-up, that I would be interested in the seat, but if he was interested in re-upping, I would just, continue to just learn from the outside instead of the inside. And he told me, he's going to go with a clean slate come sometime in July. And, who knows where he'll be a year from now. He could be on the Council on Aging with me. I don't know. So that's what got me interested. And then certainly I've done a lot of research on both the budget process and I mean, I love regulations. That's where I lived for 13 years at Legal Services. I find it all very fascinating. I find it very complex. So I'm hoping to learn a lot before I can actually contribute. I also would like to see more attention given to all of our older adults in Northborough, whether they are living independently in the community setting or whether they're in subsidized or supported housing, that that they know what resources are available to them. And while that may be outside the scope of the housing authority's regulatory role, it doesn't mean that it can't be a form of communicating or collaborating across the two, both the Council on Aging and then the Housing Authority as well. And so, I mean, I figured, why not? I mean, the Council on Aging is fun and interesting, but I mean, I like to do stuff. So this is what I decided I wanted to try doing.
Well, you submitted a kind of, I guess you would call it an abbreviated CV, but clearly your background, brings a lot to this position. And I would just like to say also, I think that curiosity will keep you young. So there you go.
Yeah. That and facials.
Yes. Laura, do
Well,
you
that's
have?
just it. I mean, if nothing else, knowing the acronyms in the regulatory world is just a leg up on the average person.
Mhm. In the regular world too. Laura, do you have any questions or comments?
It's hard to find a question when your answer is just so all-encompassing of all that I really wanted to ask you about your interest for this position. But just having known you for quite a while and you're advocating for people who have had different needs, I really appreciate the work that you're willing to contribute here to the Housing Authority. Um, I know that you'll do an amazing job advocating if you identify people or situations that need help. And I think that'll be a real value for helping bridge some of the work that the select board does in tandem with the housing authority. And so I appreciate it. And I think I appreciate your interest in taking your skill set and looking to give back this way.
Right. Well, thank you.
Um,
I also think that it's, again, a kind of unique background. I think that when the construction project moves forward on Village Drive, it's going to be beneficial to have somebody with a zoning board background,
yes.
right? And understanding, again, that language, that process. I mean, I'm not saying whether it's, I'm going to be out there, banging drums for it or whether, but if nothing else, I feel that I can be a conduit to explain to people why certain things, you can't say no to, you have to say yes, but, or yes, however, and things like that. So I think that that could be helpful as well.
Well, I hope that you'll continue to keep us in the loop. You've done a great job communicating in the past, so I expect nothing
Mhm.
less in this case. And so I hope you'll continue to keep us in the loop with what you uncover, especially with your curious minds.
Right.
Fran, you haven't been on Council on Aging that long, right? But now
I
you're,
just started my second 3-year term, but I was on it back in the 1990s. I was on the Council on Aging.
so,
That,
so
that was one of my
between,
first ones.
between your first tour of duty and this tour, um, are there any, what would you say, or maybe you haven't been able to do this yet, are some of the needs that seniors have in town that we could do better?
I think you're always going to have mobility and transportation is fundamental in your ability to age in place or so that is huge, and that includes sidewalks. That includes, it doesn't have to be a bus driving, a bus route going down Route 20. We're talking about, proper sidewalks, easy egress and into buildings and things like that. And then, of course, public transportation in some form or fashion that we can do, partnering with the WRTA.
I remember when we moved into town, there was the Northborough taxi.
There you go, right?
That was probably a really good thing. Anyway,
Problem
we have to move this along because Laura has to test Girl Scouts for swimming lesson. Rita, do you have any questions for Fran or anything else you'd like to tell her about the
I was looking at the paperwork that you submitted, and I was just curious about your writing about rights and responsibilities for tenants, what you meant by that.
Well, in reading the regulations and actually doing some research in our neighboring towns of Westboro and Southboro, I'm looking at their housing authorities and their agendas and minutes just to see whether we are, doing it in similar form and fashion. I know that there are, I think it is Westboro that has a tenant organization that is actively part of their commission, and that it is something that can help the communication between the commission, the executive director, and the tenants to make sure that even if you can't please everyone, you can at least hear everyone's concerns and they feel heard. And I mean, I do think that I would like to see the commission appear more communicative than it does appear. I'm not saying it is not. I'm not saying it's not doing its job well, but the ability to have people feel like they're heard, I think, is important. And that's what I mean by rights and responsibilities. And there is the opportunity to have formal organization between the tenants to be heard more collectively if they chose to do that. And I want to also include our families. I know that the majority of our housing is the older population, but we do have families in housing. And I mean, I don't know whether they're interested in participating or not. I also would like to see the town be more open to subsidized housing for families. I mean, we seem to be, we okayed 8 units for senior housing, but we turned down 6 units for family housing on Boundary Street. And to me, that just doesn't make sense.
Okay. As far as the tenants are concerned, their concerns and whatever their issues are, as far as maintenance or maybe something else, moving, whatever, is all handled on the day-to-day activities of the housing authority. And this housing authority is trying to inform the tenants more openly than it has been in the past. So if tenants have any issues, they should be going directly to the executive director. If the director cannot handle it or they're not satisfied, there's a process they can go through
Mhm.
to pursue whatever it is their concerns are.
Mhm.
We as the board cannot get involved in that because the tenants have to go through the executive director. The executive director then reports to us. So we're the governing board. And I think it's hard because we all want to be able to do the right thing and do the best thing for all tenants, not just the elderly or the disabled, but also for the families. And the problem with that is that we really can't get involved that much into the day-to-day with them. And it makes it very difficult. We're not a social service agency, so that kind of prohibits us from really going through to do some of the really worthwhile things we all would like to see.
Mhm.
We're a housing agency and we are regulated. So as much as we'd like to do many, many more things than we do, I think we try and I think we do a pretty good job.
So
Well,
if,
hopefully I can just add to it.
oops, if a tenant has a need and doesn't feel that the need is met with the first step, which is the executive director, is there some kind of appeals process, and who does that?
There's a grievance they can file a grievance. And the grievance proceed, there's a whole system, again, it all comes down to our state regulations. There's a whole procedure. But going back to the second point I just said about social services, one of the things that this housing authority has started now is it has become more involved with Springwell. And there's a lot of services they're bringing into the tenants now that we haven't had before. So there are programs at the Housing Authority, it's not us, the board, but the director has been involved with trying to get more types of services in to help some of the needs of some of the elderly that are there that have special needs.
Fran, do you have any questions for Laura or me, or any more questions for Rita?
I don't have any for you or Laura at this time. I'll probably have 1,000 for Rita should I be appointed. One of the main ones is that, from what I've read, that all new members, and I don't know whether existing members on a reoccurring basis, is actually a state training that is required. So I'm looking forward to that. I did see the training manual online, but it is dated 2014. And when I tried calling, their phone system is horrific because it kept disconnecting me when I said I wanted to speak with someone.
Oh gosh.
And so I did get a very nice woman who does CHAMP applications, and she was very apologetic, but could not tell me anything other than, did I have a question about my CHAMP application, which is the universal application for state housing. And
Well, that's
so
something the
I am,
board, Fran, that's something the board will not get involved in. We don't get involved in those applications.
no, I understand that.
Yeah,
The
that's probably why
phone
you didn't get the
system,
information.
right, yeah, the phone system sent me to her, but I did want to find out how the training from this state occurs for new members. And I do believe it said for all members on some reoccurring basis, but I don't remember the time frame. So,
There is a time frame, and you will be notified. There's also a public housing handbook that I think will be very helpful. And and you will be notified of the training. There is requirements you will have to take, ethics,
right,
addition to a few others. So you'll be
right,
notified. You'll get plenty of help, with it when it comes up.
right. Fabulous.
I should ask if you can copy me on the documentation. I would love to see. I don't think I need to take that training, but I would love to see the updated documentation that you're going to be sharing with Fran as well, please. Just more curious to see how the process works. So thank you for all the research you did, Fran. That's a lot of digging and
Well,
effort.
I don't volunteer just so that I can say I'm a volunteer. I actually want to
Totally.
make a difference, right?
I would never, ever say that to you ever.
And your curiosity will keep you young too.
Okay, we're going to coin that one.
Yeah.
Laura, anything else?
No, I thank you so much for taking an interest. I really appreciate it. I look forward to working with you and supporting you and Rita as you,
Nice to
as we
meet
get to the
you.
next step.
Yes,
There you
and
go.
thank you for all you do. And really, Fran, thank you for all you do too, with between COA and all the committees and boards you've served on. So,
And I was able to actually get my leaves and brush to the DPW when there used to be a gate. I just want you to know.
before 2 o'clock.
Yes, there used to be. Go to Google Maps, you'll see in 2012 there was a gate.
Really?
Yes. And people, it was just an arm gate for the road, and people would pull up on the grass and then walk around and put their stuff in anyway.
Wow.
Anyway.
Well,
All right,
everything.
well, thank you all very much. Rita,
Thank
can you
you.
just real quick, when is your next meeting? Are you summer people or?
Let me look at my calendar. Hold on. It's the first Wednesday in June, which I believe is June 4th.
June?
4th.
Oh, that's the first Wednesday in June.
Right.
That's what you said. Okay. All right. I wasn't sure
And
whether you
that'll
were
be at 4
summer.
o'clock.
Okay, well, yeah. I just want to make sure you didn't take off for the summer or something.
We do,
Oh, but not June.
July and August, but we're back.
Okay.
Unless there's something important, then we will come back for a special meeting.
Okay.
And
All
from
right. Well, thank you.
September right through, we'll be there every month.
All right. Well, hopefully the select board will meet between now
Yeah.
and then. I can actually be a member. If not, I will just be there as a interested, curious person.
Julianne,
Excellent.
is our next meeting on the 9th?
Yes. Mhm. That's
Okay.
a meeting.
All right. Not a problem.
Fran, if there's any way that we can squeeze this in ahead of time, if something else comes up, we'll make sure that we do that. And
Okay. Not a problem.
sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine. So then it'll just be, should I get appointed, it won't be, my first meeting would be in September.
But
That
excuse
gives
me,
me-
are you saying that you're not going to make any decision until June 9th?
Our next
Mhm.
select board meeting is the 9th.
Oh, so that means, well, I'll see you. I'm sure you're going to show up, Fran.
Yeah.
Maybe not as a commissioner, but certainly could be
Right.
someone in the audience.
That's right. And yes, and so I'm just gonna make sure it's on my calendar, June 4th.
And I might
Yeah.
have some information for you too that I can give you at that meeting.
Perfect.
That might be
Okay.
helpful for you, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to wait until June 9th. Sorry.
That's all right. That's
All
all
right, we'll
right.
do it again in September.
There you go. Sounds like a plan. Oh, that
So-
means I'll get sworn in probably by the, oh, no, I can still get sworn in by Andy because he'll still be here after the 9th.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So at
good.
this point, then you can stay. Laura and I deliberate and move whatever we move.
There you go. No, I think I am all set. I have bowling tonight, so I can't
Ooh,
stay.
have fun. I
Yeah,
hope you
it's
get
fun.
many
It's
lucky
Sawyer-
strikes.
At Sawyer's, yeah, one would be lucky. All right, thank you all
Tonight's
very
the night.
much.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.
All right,
Thanks,
have a good
Fran.
night. Bye.
Bye.
So Laura, we should deliberate.
Yes.
You go first.
I mean, looking at Fran's application, her background, and just my personal experience when people have needed things, she is such a good connector with the work. I think having her just, especially with her curiosity around the commission already and the research that she's done, I think she'll be a really good voice just to help support the important work that they're doing already. So I really appreciate her applying for it, and I think she'd be a great person to help with the work that needs to be done. How about you?
I totally agree. I mean, her background covers so many different aspects of what she can contribute in this role. And, and she's always been interested in, obviously with her work background in social services and
Yep.
senior services. I think she'll be perfect. And
Yep.
she's very thoughtful. She takes time to do her research and make a decision. We've seen her on other boards where she does a fabulous job. So I think I think that we should recommend to the full board that she is appointed. So
I just feel bad that it's so late and I didn't realize the dates would overlap the way they do, Rita. So, oh, actually, it may not have worked anyway because I think Andy will still be on the commission in June, so maybe it'll work out the way it is. So, okay.
So at this point, we need to entertain a motion to recommend to the select board at its next available meeting, which is June 9th, that Fran Backstrom be appointed to the Housing Authority for a term of 5 years to expire on April 30th, 2030.
Second, so moved.
So moved, and I'll
Sorry.
second it. All in favor, Laura?
Aye.
Vote,
Aye.
and I vote aye. It's unanimous, and I guess Rita, do you have any last words of wisdom for us?
I wish I did, but no, honestly, I don't. I think it's going to be a challenging time for the Housing Authority, especially now going into construction, because we have some people that have a lot of misinformation. So it's going to be very interesting for the Housing Authority.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Let's hope it works out well for all.
housing in general is a big topic these days, so we thank you for all you do, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Angie, thanks for hosting this. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Angie,
you all.
so much.
Good
Is there
night. Thank
anything else?
you.
There's no minutes or anything like that, right?
No, next time. Have 'em.
Okay, all right.